Today's Wednesday, it's the 11th of August, and Anita has her knitting club today, so I've been let out into Magalluf just to have a look around, see what's going on. I'm actually starting on the Magalluf strip and been able to park the car just off the Magalluf strip, and the car park was really surprised to find parking. But the Magalluf strip's been getting a bit of bad publicity over the last few days, so I'm just going to have a quick look at the strip and then we'll get down onto there's a couple of police motorcycles going up there. It's actually well, coming up to 11:30 in the morning, and it's Wednesday, so they will have had a busy night last night down here. But obviously today it's early, nothing's open yet, and just everybody's sort of cleaning up after the night before. The bars and the restaurants are restocking with all of the things that they need, and the cleaners will have been up, so it's early this morning. They've done a really good job of cleaning up. But the issue has been crowds, because I'm just going to go down towards the beach and tell you about it. What's been happening recently is that the government have changed the rules again about times that bars can be opened, and now they have to close at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I guess by 1 o'clock in the morning, a lot of young people are really only beginning their partying, and so they all pour out onto the streets at 1 o'clock in the morning, and the party is continuing in the streets, and that is now illegal. Not allowed to do that, and so there's been some police interventions, there's been some events, some things that have gone on which have been publicised in the local press. People jumping on cars, and all the things that young people get up to, and if they're not careful, there's going to be the knock-on effect that the local council will just close down the strip, which is exactly what happened last year. And the Magalluf strip opened, and almost the day after, I can't remember whether it was 1 day or 2 days, but it was very, very quickly, the council just closed all of the bars on the Magalluf strip, and they just simply weren't allowed to open for months and months. And then when they were allowed to open, the summer season was lost to them, and they've had such a hard time. It would be a real shame if something similar happened again, and it's down to just a few silly people who just want to spoil it for everyone, really. They probably don't realise they are going to spoil it for everyone, but that's what will happen. So just a quick look around here. We're down onto the beach. It's a Wednesday morning, and I guess those who've been partying the night before, well, perhaps they're still sleeping off the night before. And you won't get so many locals down here on a Wednesday because they'll be at work. At the moment the beach is fairly quiet, but that's probably as expected. The sky is also a curious colour. It's sort of grey, and it was very grey yesterday. We went down to Palmanova early evening, thinking we might have a little walk and make a video, but we didn't. And that was really because it was just so muggy. The Spanish newspaper described the atmosphere as leaden, full of lead, because it was just so heavy and full of dust. What's happened over the last few days is we've got a wind that's blown over. It was actually quite windy yesterday. This wind's blown over from the Sahara, and when it does so, it carries a lot of the Sahara dust, finer than the sand, so it's really dusty, and it's a very orange colour, and it just stays in the air. And last night it was really quite heavy in the air. Sometimes it causes a storm, sometimes it causes a bit of rain, and in the middle of the night we must have had just a few drops of rain. I mean, literally a few drops of rain, but those few drops of rain caused the cars to become covered in this mud, and you put your windscreen wipers on first thing in the morning and it's like washing off a big layer of mud. So it's not going to clear either for the next few days, and the weather is reported to be getting warmer and warmer, and we're heading into a heat wave. On the mainland, they're talking of temperatures reaching 45 degrees, and even here in Mallorca, temperatures are going to reach perhaps 40 degrees. Perhaps not on the coast where there's a bit of a breeze, but certainly in the middle of the island, we'll see temperatures climbing up towards 40 degrees, and may even exceed that 40 degrees. So we're booked to go back to the UK. We did change our booking, so we were originally due to go on Thursday, and that meant travelling to Manchester. And normally when I go to England I do quite a lot of travelling because our family are well spread out in the UK, so we try to visit everybody, but it means travelling around the UK, and this would have meant travelling from Manchester to Stoke, down to London, to the south coast, to Somerset. We would have been doing a lot of travelling. So I decided I didn't fancy all of that travelling with the present conditions, and so forgot that flight really, and so we've now booked another flight, and we won't be going to the north of England. We'll be staying in the south with our family there, so we sort of cut it a bit shorter, and we're limiting the amount of travelling that we're doing, and that will mean that we can spend a little bit more time maybe with our children and grandchildren in the UK. So we're very much looking forward to that. It's not without hassle. I hate forms, and there's forms to fill in. I've still got some forms to fill in, passenger locator forms. I've organised the day 2 test with Randox. There seems to be a huge choice. You go onto the government website and there's 400 different listings there, and you go to the cheapest one, which is £20 or something, but then when you actually get in there, it's not really £20, it's £90 or something. So it's really difficult to know which one to choose, but I'd heard mentioned many people were having Randox, so that's the one I've gone for and paid for, and hopefully that all works out. But before we leave here, we also have to have a test, and that's been confused by the government. There's Daiquiri Palace, not open yet, nobody's having their cocktails, but the British government have confused the issue. I was listening to Grant Shapps on the TV the other morning, and he was either blatantly lying or he doesn't actually know what's going on, because he said that people in Spain, British tourists in Spain, were mostly having PCR tests. Now I don't know where he's getting his information from, but most tourists are coming to the Balearic Islands. Yes, they're going to the mainland as well, but I'm not sure the mainland will be any different. And most of the tourists that I've seen here, when they go for the antigen test, simply because the antigen test is €30 and the PCR test is €75. So if you only have to have the antigen test, why would anybody pay for the PCR test? They don't really get anything out of it. The government might get some statistics out of it, but as an individual you get nothing out of it. The only thing you're looking for is permission to fly. But Grant Shapps was saying that it was an option to have a PCR test, but most people do have it, and he is absolutely wrong there. Most people have the antigen test, and they have to be double jabbed, but most people in the UK are double jabbed, so certainly the older people. So we've got our tests organised. We've still got the paperwork to sort out, and then hopefully by Friday we'll be into the cool of the UK. did read somewhere that they were heading for a heat wave, but I think their heat wave will be nice and cool for us. I didn't go below about 27 degrees last night. It makes sleeping quite difficult. We tend to have a fan on all through the night, the windows open, and it's still very, very hot. So I'm going out for a walk today. It is a little bit overcast and actually doesn't feel too bad. It's hot, but it doesn't feel too bad. Maybe it'll heat up if the sun manages to burst through these clouds. I'll go up one more and we'll have to have a look to see what's happening to the Nikki Beach. I guess they're just getting ready for the noonday arrivals. You see most of the beds here are not actually in use. And just looking along the strips, the places there have not opened. So it is definitely going to be different this year from previous years if you're still planning to come. Everyone I've spoken to have been really happy that they've made the effort and they've got here, and no one that I've actually spoken to has had any major difficulties. Where I thought there might have been difficulties going through the airport, they seem to think that it went very, very smoothly, and the biggest problems seem to be in the UK rather than in the Spanish side. Lots of people already in the sea. Not many boats here yet. There's just one or two moored out there. And I'm going to head back into Magalluf, see what's happening in the town. There's a bit of a dirt track. We leave the beach just by the side of Nikki Beach. Some houses here. Some of the original houses from Magalluf. And they've got a prime location right on the beach. Usually empty most of the year, and then sometimes in the summer people will come out to stay in those houses. But they are prime locations, and I'm sure the hotels and business owners would love to get their hands on those properties. But that would be rather expensive, I would think. So saying Anita's not with me, she's with the knitting ladies this morning. She does most Wednesdays, and then she's going off to have her hair done at the hairdressers. And sadly her hairdresser Tracy has moved back to England, so she's had to find a new hairdresser. I'm sure she will. Just hope that I notice when she comes in that she's had her hair done. I must say I don't always. Just gone down. It's the entrance side of Nikki Beach. I'm going to head down through where the shops and bars are in Magalluf, just to have my walk. I haven't been for a walk for the last couple of days. It's just felt too hot, and I had a lot of videos to catch up from our little staycation up in Anita. Still haven't uploaded them all. I tend to do 2 videos at a time. I do a normal one and I do a 360 one. And I've concentrated on just doing the normal videos, which are on our normal video Steve and Anita in Mallorca YouTube channel. That's Tanya. And then I do 360s of exactly the same thing, so I'm recording a 360 video now. And with the 360 video you can see everything that's going on around. You just move your phone around or swipe the phone, or if you've got watching it on a big television, which is a great way to watch, you just use the remote control, the arrow keys let you go up and down and left and right, and you see everything. So If you haven't persevered with 360 yet, it's well, I think it's the way for the future of watching videos of particularly things like this, because you can potentially see so much more. You can pause the video and have a good look around at any particular point. So otherwise I have to turn the camera to see that the Magalluf inside hotel by Melia, that part's open, but right next to it, I'm not sure, the restaurant is not open. So the hotel is open. The deck chairs are up on the top there. People standing at the windows, and they've got a huge roof terrace up there. So the hotel's open, but not all of the businesses that go with it. I'll just go inside, not actually inside the inside, but onto their terraces here. You can see the swimming pools that go around the corner. So what Melia did when they built this was to have a swimming pool up on the roof, and that is quite a novelty here in Mallorca. But they gave it a glass bottom, which made it even more of a novelty, because it means people down below can actually look up and watch the people swimming. So can't see anybody up there at the moment. There's the swimming pool. It's quite a big pool up there, and there's one on the other side too. And there used to be fountains here, but they've been told to be turned off because of the droplets that they produce that can actually carry the virus. So we don't have fountains in many places anymore, which are really good because they cool the air. And going back to the swimming pool, which is up on the roof there, I read in the local paper that the council up in Alcudia have now allowed, or will be allowing, hotels in the Alcudia area to put swimming pools on their roofs. So that, I think that's going to happen this year, but for next year that could be quite an interesting innovation if any of the hotels manage to get it organised by then. To put swimming pools on the top of hotels. The mind boggles really, but it could be really quite interesting, swimming along and you can see for miles and miles. So keep my eye on that one, see what comes of it. It's certainly interesting. Just walking past McDonalds here. There's tables and chairs out. I'm not a great fan of McDonald's. Benny Hills. Some people have been writing to me that they've managed to get to Benny Hills with their favourite places to go to. It's been closed for a long time, but it's all open and running now. If we ever stop for a drink while we're in Magalluf, 9 times out of 10 we'll stop at Sinky's Bar, just across the road there, Scottish pub. Used to be run by Tommy and Kathy, good friends of ours for many years, and now it's run by their son Ryan. This is my first walk for 2 or 3 days, not really done very much in the way of walking. I wasn't sure when I put my shoes on to come out whether I was going to manage it because of the heat, but it's really not been too bad. The temperatures are high, but I'm not feeling too uncomfortable. Coming up to the Samos Hotel. It's one that's been open a lot. Not completely open all the way through, but for much of the pandemic, the Samos was one of the hotels, one of the few hotels in Magalluf that has stayed open. It did close for a while, and that's fair enough. It's open now. Across the road, we have a mixture of things that are open and things that are not open. And of course we have BCM. We're doing a lot of work on BCM. All through the pandemic times there's been various bits of work being going on. And there's lights on in there now. Not the sort of place I go to anyway. I have been once or twice. And if you were listening, Tito's is actually moving here as well. So Tito's, the great nightclub from Mallorca, moving to BCM. Things like Panama Jacks, which rely on BCM, they're not open. And even BCM has got to close at 1 o'clock. 1 AM in the morning, so it's not very encouraging to them. And no news yet, not even any whispers in the press about what's going to happen in the next change. So we've got another week or so before they will start announcing what's happening there. So here's the Captain's Arms, and that's just been totally gutted and left for the time being. And go down that way, I'll go down this way, see if I can stay in a little bit of shade. So across the road, what I remember as the Magalluf Park Hotel is no longer the Magalluf Park Hotel. It's always been part of the Sol Group. It's now called Kathmandu, and it's part of the Kathmandu upside down house, which is just around the corner. Has undergone quite a massive change, so a lot of the balconies up at the top there have been glassed in. I guess that makes them seem bigger. It gives you different options. The structure was built to keep it in line with the ideas of Kathmandu, I suppose. I used to go there many years ago, 20 years ago perhaps, on a weekly basis with a little business that I had, but I'll tell you about that in another video. So Sol Kathmandu Park and Resort. So we're just coming to the corner where we've got the upside down house just around the corner here. And there used to be lots of other things, well, there still are lots of things. There's the golf that they have there as well. So this is one of the test centres. If you're coming for a holiday here and you're going back to the UK, then you've got to get your COVID-19 test, which is an antigen test. If you're double vaccinated, then you may have to have a PCR if you're not.
We had to have 2 tests when we got back as well. Right. And there were 7 of us then.
People ask me about various bars, whether they're open or not, and such a long list, and my memory's going, I think. But I think the White Horse was one of them, and the White Horse closed a long time ago. It's up for sale, and well, who knows what's going to happen to it. It's up for sale, and I don't know. So the Chinese next to that, that's always been open. A lot of the businesses here are either up for sale or up for rent. That's fairly normal. They usually take the signs down. They usually take the signs down when the season starts, but a lot of the signs have stayed up this year. So we're just across the road from the Kathmandu Hotel, just walking away from the beach. Most places along here are open. And I'm starting to feel the temperature rise now. More exposed to the sun. There used to be some climbing frames here. I mean, not climbing frames like you'd see in a children's park, but climbing frames that are were quite spectacular. Required you to get all rigged up with ropes and things around you. Kids used to love it. That was taken down last year, the year before. And the Kathmandu house itself did have scaffolding the last time we were here. No scaffolding now. I don't know whether it's open or not. Certainly that door's not open. And I'm not sure it looks very open on this side either. All this gate's closed. Because there are other things other than the house. There's the golf, the cinema, there's various bars there as well. Not looking too open. There's Leo's pub where we usually stop for coffee. It's not with me today, so I'll just carry on walking and see if I can remember where I parked the car. Other place there across where all the green and orange chairs are. We quite often stay there for a sandwich. I'm nearly parked in the underground car park here. Last time we came, that's where we did park and it was free. But now there's a barrier. There's a barrier and you do have to pay, so just have to be careful. Across the road here, take my life in my hands. No crossing, because I park the car up this way. So there's no entry unless you're authorised, but I'm walking, so it doesn't really matter. Interesting to see if I can drive out this way. I've never driven out this way before, so having to drive up the strip. Nice, and they've got the flowers. Anita would be appreciating all of these flowers and telling me exactly what they are. Flowers. And oleander, I know that one. On the other side. And here a gardener gardening. This little road that I drove up is actually off the strip. So you start driving up the strip and there's a little road just to the left. And there is some street parking, but it's pay and display street parking. It's also a car park. And it's a public car park, municipal car park, and free to park. So, chance to my luck, there were at least 3 spaces, so I'll park there. And this used to be a dead end, you can probably tell by the turning circle here. So you drove up here, you used to have to drive out that way. But now you can drive straight out. And you can see there is plenty of street parking. This is all pay and display street parking. So if you park wherever there's a blue line, you need to look at the sign and see what the limitations are for parking here. And it is different in different areas, so you need to look at every sign. And here's a parking meter where they take your cash. So if you come to park here, you just use the machine here. You've got the instructions. The instructions are in English as well down there, and you get your ticket, comes out. It's not particularly expensive. 30 minutes is 40 cents. 152 minutes. 152? How do they work that out? Anyway, that's €1.75. And this is the free car park. So if you're lucky, you'll find a space here, and it doesn't cost you anything. But now it's looking pretty full. But when I came, there was quite a few spaces. So it's been quite a nice walk. It's getting really hot now, so I'm going to head home. I think I'll put the air conditioning on, have a drink, and thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends. Let everybody have a look to see what Magalluf's like in the middle of August now, I guess it is, 2021. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.